For being with him for so many years, it's amazing to see a kid from a man to a grown man.
As they were going to announce this fight initially, DV allegations dropped. Tank was arrested, and it was once again put in doubt.
Before the fight was canceled on Monday after a civil lawsuit filed by ex-girlfriend Courtney Rozelle accused Davis of battery and aggravated battery.
When Calvin Ford hears the news that Gervonta Davis has been arrested, he breaks down in tears on livestream. "I watched Tank grow into a man," he says, reflecting on their long journey from the streets all the way to world titles. Ford's voice trembles as he explains how devastating it feels to watch everything fall apart. He can't contain his emotions as he realizes that the path he once believed was unstoppable has suddenly hit a heartbreaking collapse.
My journey's crazy. That's why I said this, you can't write this, man. You cannot write this. My experience being gone and all the stuff that I went through preparing me for where I'm at today. You know, that Tank is older. He had the lessons, getting his lessons of what he got to do, take us the rest of the way. And this is his take us the rest of the way.
Gervonta Davis has faced a series of personal challenges throughout his career. Earlier this year, the mother of his children accused him of misconduct, though the charges were later dismissed. Not long after, another woman filed a separate lawsuit, piling even more controversy onto the fighter's name. Even with the first case being dropped, these recent legal troubles sparked widespread attention and damaged his public image. Many pointed out that personal issues rarely stay private, especially for high-profile athletes like Davis in the world of sports. Even elite talent doesn't shield someone from public criticism or legal fallout. One scandal is enough to dominate headlines and overshadow professional success, affecting both reputation and career. Fans, commentators, and the boxing community tend to judge athletes not only by their skills, but by their behavior, meaning everything they do becomes open to analysis. Davis's situation shows that accomplishments alone can't protect an athlete from the consequences of legal or public exposure, highlighting the constant struggle to balance personal conduct with professional responsibility.
The Roach rematch never happened. The Paul camps still thought Tank is a big enough name regardless of his previous result to go ahead with this bout. But just as they were going to announce this fight initially, DV allegations dropped. Tank was arrested, and it was once again put in doubt. Then the charges were dropped. A week later, they announced the event. So that kind of brings us to today. This event hasn't been smooth sailing so far, and was almost destined that there would end up being a few more bumps in the road before we actually saw the two facing off. And about as big of a bump as you could really get has now hit the promotion. A civil suit has been filed against Tank, in which his ex-girlfriend accuses him of aggravated battery, false imprisonment, kidnapping, and intentional infliction of emotional distress. While it was also reported by ESPN that a report has been filed additionally with the Miami Gardens Police Department last Tuesday. However, as I'm recording this, there's yet to be any criminal charges. Now, these alleged incidents happened last month, which was after the announcement of the fight. You would think if you're Tank on the verge of the biggest payday he's ever gotten, he would be doing anything to stay out of trouble, yet he continues to find himself in negative situations again and again. But in saying all of this, everything at the moment is very much alleged, and I'm not really here to talk about the validity of these claims. What I am here to talk about though is the impact this might have on the boxing event in a couple weeks time. Now, Tank vs Paul, love or hate the idea of it, was definitely one of the most viewed fights of the year. Although there are rumors of there being poor ticket sales, the at-home audience that was gonna watch...
Roy Jones Jr. said that Gervonta Davis has been dealing with serious pressure for a long time and that this latest case only worsens the situation. He explained that these issues, happening at the same time as the build-up to the Jake Paul fight, added overwhelming stress on the young star. According to Jones, the boxing world already knew Davis had personal struggles, so the situation wasn't entirely unexpected, but still deeply troubling. He added that the cancellation of the fight only increased the emotional weight on Davis, leaving him to face public criticism while also dealing with the disappointment of losing a major opportunity.
Jake Paul didn't work out. Just what were your thoughts on that whole thing?
Man, I really don't want to even have much to say about that because everybody take it the bad way. But all I'm gonna say is this: Jake Paul knew what it was when he first signed the fight. This ain't the first time he had battered against a woman. You knew what it was when you first signed the fight. So don't get mad and cuss him out and talk bad about him now. You knew what it was when you signed up for it. Come on, bro. You know what I'm saying? Let's not do that. I don't talk bad about him either, but don't do the dude like that. No, the dude having a hard time in his life right now. Don't just do him like that. You know what I mean? Because you knew exactly what he was when you signed him to fight the first time. All I got to say.
Tank's team has kind of been bringing that, like, talking about just some of Jake's past, and more kind of said that Jake said he's actually afraid to fight Tank. I mean, do you think it leaned a little more on that side, and they're just selling it the other way?
I already know what it is. Like I said, I already know. I'll get into it, but we all know young guys go through issues. That's just...
Jake Paul also spoke about an incident involving Gervonta Davis. Paul claimed that Davis was completely sober and fully aware of his actions at the time. He suggested that there was no attempt from Davis to blame the situation on intoxication. While Paul's version reflects only his personal perspective, it portrays Davis as responsible and conscious of what he was doing, showing the pressure he may have been under behind the scenes. Paul sharing these details publicly gives fans and observers a glimpse into Davis's mental state, but it's important to note that Paul's comments are not supported by evidence. His statements may fuel speculation, but they also highlight how closely athletes like Davis are watched, with every move becoming public conversation. Overall, his remarks show how complicated it is for fighters to manage private struggles while living under constant public judgment. Coach Kenny offered a deep look into Gervonta Davis's rise.
Was on Aiden Ross, and he shared a story about Jake Paul, about Gervonta, and he said, look, Aiden, it was 4:15 in the morning. It was 4 o'clock in the morning. Gervonta Davis was sober. He got sober into a car and drove out there at that hour to do this. This guy is extra bad. Let me repeat that. Let me repeat that. Jake Paul said that Gervonta Davis left his house sober and went to Tootsie's nightclub sober. I just want you to put your common sense hat on. How in the world would he know that? Does Jake Paul talk to Gervonta Davis? Did Gervonta Davis tell Jake Paul I was sober when I left the house? Did Jake Paul have a camera in Gervonta Davis's car? Did he have a breathalyzer in Gervonta Davis's car? Did Jake Paul get toxicology reports from 3 days ago from Gervonta Davis? I am just curious as to how in the world Jake could possibly know that Gervonta Davis was sober. Let me tell you for sure, I will have a drink now and then. If I take a couple shots of vodka and I walk out the house, I'm a little buzzed. Sometimes my wife doesn't even know. How do you know, Jake? The answer is you do not. You are just trying to add something to the story to make Gervonta look worse. It wasn't enough that Gervonta Davis was accused of doing something.
Focusing on the challenges that come with reaching the top of professional boxing, he explained that every elite fighter must deal with intense pressure, media scrutiny, and personal obstacles both in and out of the ring. Kenny emphasized that these hardships don't represent failure. They're a normal part of the journey to greatness. He added that even though Davis is dealing with short-term setbacks like legal issues or public scandals, they don't erase the years of discipline, training, and sacrifice he's invested in his career. Kenny's perspective shows that success in boxing is rarely a straight path. It's shaped by wins, losses, setbacks, and comebacks. He reminded everyone that difficult moments are tests of character that require resilience and mental strength. These challenges may temporarily slow a fighter's rise or affect public perception, but they don't take away from the talent and dedication that made them champions in the first place. In Davis's case, Kenny's words highlight that perseverance, hard work, and determination are still key pieces of his story, even as he navigates his current problems. That's all for today's video. Stay tuned and we'll see you next time.